Hi everyone, this is Ethan and Annmarie on Cassette,
Woo!
the Cassette podcast, where you can eject whenever you want, but please do not forget to rewind.
That was a good intro.
Yeah, wow, we actually kind of nailed
You
it.
nailed it this time.
Wow, okay, it took
Episode
2 episodes.
3.
Yeah. So, as you could tell by the title of this volume, we are going to be reviewing Ahsoka, the wonderful new Star Wars show that came out recently, featuring Rosario Dawson, showrun by Dave Filoni, and we're going to give you our thoughts on that, along with the subject of whether or not Star Wars should be using legacy characters in future projects. So, but first and foremost, let's dive into what we thought about the show.
Well, should we start? Because I did not watch Clone Wars or Rebels, and I was forced into it. Not really. You guys were like, you guys should watch it. You should watch this. And so I finished, we actually watched the last season of Rebels and all that.
Yeah.
Before we watched Ahsoka, or finished Ahsoka. And so I had a very different experience than you did, because I was watching Ahsoka and didn't know Rebels, and I was like, these characters are the worst, they didn't make any sense. And then I watched Rebels, I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense now. Like, Rosario Dawson is a good Ahsoka, because when I first met her in Ahsoka, I was like, oh, this sucks. And now she's better, so that was kind of a tangent, but
No, yeah. I mean, it's good to have context, like, as to, what mindset we were going into it. I mean, Annmarie, like you were saying, you really just had no context with Rebels.
No.
Like, and you kind of thought the first 2 episodes were slow but solid, and then
yeah.
Afterwards, like,
it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you should probably watch Rebels. Like, things would probably make a lot more sense. And
I wish I finished it earlier, because, like, after finishing Rebels, I'm like, I get why they act that way. Because I'll be honest, I did not think they casted Sabine well. I didn't think they casted Hera well. I didn't think Ahsoka was casted well in live action. And then after I finished, I was like, oh, like, they switch, and, like, it makes sense, their storyline and all that. But I liked it. Like, overall, I think we both kind of had similar feelings, like, this was, like, the Star Wars we needed after so long of going without good Star Wars.
Yeah, and by the way, we will be spoiling the show, so if you have not seen it at all, we'll tell you right now, in a quick nutshell, our spoiler-free thoughts, and then afterwards we're going to dive right into spoilers. We will give you a heads up as to when, but just wanted to give you a heads up now. Yep. So, all right, want to give your spoiler-free thoughts right out of the gate?
Yeah, I guess I think it was really well done. I think the first 2 episodes were kind of slow, but at a certain point, it picks up and it gets so much better. And, like, it is kind of a great show to remember Clone Wars and Rebels. And it's a continued story. I don't want to say too much, because I feel like I'm going to just spoil it. But what did you think?
I thought that this was, like you said, the Star Wars we needed. And, like, I think it was very timely. A lot of people were wondering, like, especially when the sequels were, like, just a concept and in development, and it's like, oh, Star Wars 7, 8, 9, like, oh, this is gonna be so cool, like, with, are they gonna use the Heir to the Empire books, like, what are they gonna do, and, this kind of restored my, faith in Star Wars with that, because it's like, it got me back to that point of, like, that moment, that Ethan before episode 7, where it's like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do
so
now?
Much
like,
potential.
Are they going to do this, or are they going to use influence from here? And, the way that they implemented it, I thought was very well done. I think the performances all around were really great and true to the characters. And if someone says that they're not like, oh, this is not the exact same as this character was before, it's like, well, yeah, of course, because it's been some time since you saw those characters, and it's been some time since those characters were those versions of themselves. So, I think that they did a very fantastic job. I thought, in particular, Ray Stevenson's performance, rest in
awesome.
peace. Very phenomenal job as Baylan Skoll. just it's a shame that we will not be seeing anything, like, not just Star Wars, but anything else from him in general. But, just a fantastic way to go out, like, on the large scale with his performance. Mm-hmm. And the music, I would say, with Kevin Kiner.
Yeah.
What just...
I think of a certain sequence. I think you know which one I'm talking about. And it was so awesome.
Probably.
Get added to it, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that in our spoiler section. If we're thinking about the same thing, we're looking at each other now, we're probably
this
thinking
one,
about
right?
the same thing. But yeah, no, it was so much fun.
Who was your favorite... Obviously, Balin, you kind of said. But, like, who was your, like, favorite, like, actress in this? Or actor? I think I can guess, but...
My favorite...
performance.
That's a tough one. I would probably say... outside of Ray Stevenson, probably Lars Mikkelsen.
Oh, that's not who I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, I just...
He's so good.
I mean, I can't say too much without spoiling, but dang, man, like, he brings it. He brings it. And we'll get into why.
It's so exciting.
Yeah, just...
Star Wars is back. Thank you, Dave Filoni.
It is. And the show does have... It's not perfect.
No.
By any means, but it definitely... I would say if we're talking about, like, a rating scale, like, out of 10...
How many lightsabers out of 10?
We'd ignite, like, 9.75 lightsabers
Whoa!
out of 10. So there's still that 0.25 of, like...
You're still leaving the door open.
Yeah, so
that's how we're gonna rank stuff now.
How many lightsabers?
How many lightsabers? It doesn't even matter if it's Star Wars. We're like, how many lightsabers?
Yeah, just like, you saw Spider-Man? Like, how many lightsabers did you ignite?
Yay!
Passion of the Christ, same thing.
Yes! I loved it.
Just like the crossguard lightsaber. Yeah, how many lightsabers would you ignite?
I think it was a slow burn. I think the beginning was kind of hard, but there's a certain episode that, like, switches it. But I feel like that's all Disney Plus shows, Loki's episode 4, Scarlet Witch. What is it? WandaVision episode 4. So once you hit episode 4, I think it picks up. So I give it 8 lightsabers.
8 lightsabers.
But that's really high after, like, going so long with bad Star Wars. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, side note, not to say everything from Star Wars has been bad recently, but it's just it was very refreshing to see something like this that felt not only Star Wars-y, but it was great. It was Andor. This is not a review of Andor, but I overall liked. I know it's not like...
I don't love Andor, though.
Yeah, it does, divide a little bit, but it's just, this was something that was a little more unanimous with people.
Yeah, I think after coming off Mandalorian Season 3, like, you needed a win, and this was, like, the win that Dave Filoni was needing, and Star Wars was needing, and everything, so...
Exactly.
And I'm so... Well, I won't say that.
Well,
Spoilers.
You might be able to say it in the next 30 seconds. So, you got our quick spoiler-free reviews of Ahsoka. Now, let's get into some dirty secret spoiler territory.
Oh my goodness. Okay, can I just say this? Spoilers. I am so excited for Dave Filoni to direct a movie. He's directing it, right?
Yes, he
Okay,
is.
I think most people know there's a movie and all that coming out. Well, I don't know. We don't know. We kind of talked about this because you saw that Ahsoka on Disney Plus, it said series finale, and then they switched it to season finale.
Yeah, with their... I think it was like on X or /Twitter or whatever.
So we don't know if there's going to be a season 2 then a movie. The way it leaves off, I feel like they do need a season 2. But, like, a part of me is like, just do a trilogy. Just give to the big Star Wars.
I mean, honestly, I would prefer them to do a trilogy. Like, the whole Heir to the... Like, of course, it wouldn't be exactly Heir to the Empire verbatim, because there's a lot of different things that... are already kind of, that wouldn't work in continuity with when Heir to the Empire was written. Because Heir to the Empire was actually written before the prequels came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so when it talks about the Clone Wars, it was like a different mentality of what the Clone Wars was.
Huh.
Yeah.
I did not know that, no.
So, either way, there would have to be some adjustments and, like,
Yeah.
some liberties taken, but I would love them to do, like, a title-wise Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and Last Command, while taking influences from all these other,
and add it.
yeah, like, EU stuff, or, like, abandoned stuff that was maybe, like, deleted, or, you know, just concepts.
Well, they have to finish the story for I'm going to just call them the Rebels. You know, like Ahsoka, Hera. They have to finish their story because they're not in 7, 8, and 9 at all.
Yeah. Although I did hear that, like, at least when 9 came out, so there was some sort of confirmation. I mean, I could be wrong on this, but, like, oh, Hera and the ghost, they were in that big battle at the end, like, with all the little spaceship boys.
Yay!
I hate that movie. But anyways...
Well, it's just, obviously we're getting a movie. We don't know if it's after season 2 of this or not, but there's so many stuff that, like, I think the one thing I said after the show is, like, where are we going? Like, what is happening? I don't know what Balin's doing. What is Shin doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff. There's way too many loose ends where you could just, I feel, jump into a movie.
Yeah.
Because here's something I'm really hoping with the movie. I feel like we're forgetting the show and just kind of just jumping into the movie.
Sorry.
We're so excited.
It's like a transition.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, that I'm hoping for the movie. That the movie could stand alone. You don't necessarily... I would, like, kind of...
You don't need the show.
Yeah, like, where it's like, hey, you know, you don't need to watch all these, but if you do, it'll pay off.
Yeah.
I hope they go that route, but I wouldn't be too surprised if it was just kind of like you need to watch this, this, and this, so you can understand this. Because, I mean, for Ahsoka, it took, you know, you said that Rebels really did enhance it to the point where it really changed the performances for you.
You had to watch Rebels, I feel like. Because I knew certain stuff about Rebels. I knew about the world between worlds. I knew, like, Kanan died. I knew, like, Ahsoka came back. But that was, like, it. And I think that was what hurt me in the beginning of the show, where I'm like, episode 1 and 2, like, weren't that good. But I didn't finish Rebels, so I was like, now that I finished it, I'm like, okay, they're better.
Right.
If that makes sense. Anyways, the show. Thrawn is awesome. Ethan loves Thrawn.
Oh, my daddy in red, white, and blue.
Yay, Lars
And
Nicholson.
not Captain America. But no, I love Thrawn. Such a cool villain. Ever since he was introduced in Heir to the Empire, like, I was just hit with him. Like, I loved him.
He's not in it that much, but still, like, he carries it.
I know a lot of people's one of their complaints for it with Ahsoka was, like, oh, we didn't really get to see the cooled and calculating Thrawn. And I'm like, well, you're seeing hints of it, but also keep in mind, this Thrawn is not the same that we see at the end of Rebels. Mm-hmm. This Thrawn has been, like, it's like a hurt dog, you know, like, or hurt animal. You don't want to get near it because they'll be more likely to bite.
Yeah.
You know, and they're really anxious, really worried. And you see that in, like, one of the episodes, I think it's the finale, where you have Sabine, Ahsoka, and Ezra riding into this temple, evading the quote-unquote hellfire from the Chimera. And he's getting, like, visually worried, like, shit, you know, like, I mean, he knows that he's given himself enough time, but he's like, you know, I'm not going to underestimate him, so what could a Skywalker's former apprentice, you know, have planned here, you know, can I actually pull this off?
I think I would have loved to see more, like, manipulation and all that, but I think that's coming down the line, too.
Yeah, and I feel like there will be plenty of that, but you can kind of see hints of that through Balin and how he approached Balin and Shin, you know, and the thing I really love about Thrawn is how he not only, like, is a really good villain, but he respects his adversaries, you know, like, respected Ahsoka when he beat her at the end and just said, like, you know, you're a true Ronin, and like, but, you know, and just being honest with her, like, your master was Anakin Skywalker turned into Vader, you know, who's to say it won't happen to you? Which is such an interesting thing, because I think I brought this up to you right afterwards, where Ahsoka learns really her lesson midway through the show, rather than like towards the end of it.
Yeah.
She learns that, like, through that experience with Anakin, hey, listen, I am everything you are and were, but I can also be more on top of that.
Yeah.
And the fact that she learned that lesson midway through the show, and you still have Thrawn telling her, like, you could still become that. There's still time for that to happen. And it might be better for the galaxy if you stay here. Yeah. Like, I think that's just so interesting to do that, like, from a narrative standpoint.
There's so much room for her to, like, you know, like, she really is, like, in the middle of everything. And that's what brought up the theory, like, oh, maybe Sabine turns. I think you brought that up. Like, Sabine turns to the dark side. And it's like Ahsoka has to go through that whole thing again with her. Because Sabine, like, honestly, I kind of wish towards the end of the show they kind of left it more open-ended, because everyone's like, she's a Jedi. And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool, though, if, like, it, like, that actually, like, she becomes the villain, or, like, a part of it, or, I don't know. I think it'd be neat.
I think she did, they did leave it open-ended enough, but I think just for, like, classification's sake, for, like, certain fans, they're like, oh, we have to label her this. Yeah. Because, you know, it's like, oh, in Star Wars, we gotta give the fandom, like, a specific label for these characters. Yeah. You know, but, and Mandalorian Jedi is pretty damn cool.
So cool.
I actually heard from other people, one of our friends, that they thought the idea of a Mandalorian Jedi, like Sabine, was OP. Like, Sabine was OP. And I'm like, really? Like, we're dipping into Mary Sue accusations here? And I'm like, I didn't see that, because she struggles quite a bit with the Force throughout the show.
And she doesn't get it back till she sees Ezra again, and that was, like, her lifeline.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I don't know, I just call that character growth. Yeah. You know? I mean, same thing happened with Luke. Yeah. So I don't know, I didn't see that either.
I don't think I did.
Now, the scene, let's confirm that we were going back to Kevin Kiner's music.
Yeah. Are we thinking Ahsoka and Anakin?
Okay, then,
what were you thinking?
We weren't on the same page.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking Thrawn's introduction.
Oh, that too. Wait, hold on. Okay, Thrawn's introduction, yes, you're totally right. But the scene between Ahsoka and Anakin, and the world between worlds, and the music is so good! And it makes such a difference, and they use him so well.
Yeah, if it were up to me, every song, every piece of music in that score is the best.
Yeah.
But, the one that stood out in particular for me was the Thrawn one. Because, I mean, if you're going to bring in a character like that, like this Dracula kind of character, someone that's smart, calculated, cold, villainous, not human, but kind of human at the same time. Like,
he's like a snake. Like, so cool.
But yeah, Anakin and Ahsoka. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Oh, it's so well done, and, like, it's just perfect. Like, his story is complete. Like, I love the flashbacks to Clone War. It really, like, I think most people, like, everyone knows the story of Ahsoka. People hated her, and I'm starting to love her. Mm-hmm. Like, it makes her story so much better that he was there for a little bit, and, like, I'm good, like, with it, so.
Yeah, do you think that a lot of people that didn't like the show because they thought it was too much, many servings of member berries, or did you feel that those member berries served a significant narrative purpose?
I think it serves a narrative. I think the one thing you could have taken it out of is the training that she was doing, and it was a recording of him. I'm like, I don't really need that. But, like, I think it yeah, so, like you said it, like, Thrawn is, like, trying to manipulate her and be like, you could still become that. And she's like, no, Anakin taught me, but I can become more than that. I don't need to follow his path. And so, I get what people say that is Remember Barry, but, like, it serves, like, it's such, we know there's more. Like, there's more. Right. I'm not saying this is the best thing ever and all that. Like, it's a step into the right direction of Dave Filoni's movie or season 2 or whatever. So.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it's just, I don't really get, because in my opinion, the show itself, the message was clear. The moral of the story is clear. It's all, universally, it's about rebirth. Like, and I would compare it to, and I know a lot of people are, like, Gandalf going from the gray to the white, being thrown off the bridge, and all that. And it's very significant. I think that the narrative use of the flashbacks, the quote-unquote member berries,
so
like, yes, was it nostalgic happiness that we would love to be served every platter we have? Yes. But was it exclusively that? No. Anyone that says that just doesn't understand, like, this character's growth. Like, it required... The whole point of it is to show the past that she went through, what she grew up with. Because keep in mind, she was a teenager when this war was going on. She was thrown into the mix of it. And now she's an adult, like, just kind of going back and forth with, like, oh, shoot, I went down the same path that my master went down. What, am I going to continue going down that path? Like, what's going to happen? So she begins, like, very depressed, very, like, dismayed, like, and disillusioned with the world.
I think even it relates to her relationship with Sabine, too. And then it becomes, Yeah, exactly.
And Sabine is, kind of a victim of it.
I didn't like her at first, but now I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, and, gosh, I gotta say that, what's her name? Natasha Liu Bordizzo?
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, like, if I butcher that, I'm so sorry. But wow, is she one of the most beautiful women to ever exist?
Her biceps!
Right, like, dang, like, it's just well done with her performance, but...
They do the Rebels cast really well, I think, mostly. Listen, I still don't like Hera. Like, I don't like how she's portrayed in this show, but she's not given enough, so I, like, have to take it back and all that. And so, but everyone else, like Ezra, whoever plays Ezra, like, well done.
Oh,
like,
my gosh.
You captured him perfectly.
His mannerisms.
Yeah, Ahsoka, Sabine. Again, Hera didn't work for me, but I just don't think they gave Mary Elizabeth enough to do.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I thought, too. Like, I thought that her performance as Hera was solid. Like, was as great as it could be, But it's just...
It's gonna lead more.
Yeah, it's like we want more of her so she can do more with that character.
Mama Hera needs to come.
Yes, she does.
Beat up Mom again.
Now, here's a theory that's been going around. And by me going around, I mean exclusively from my mouth.
Whoa!
But,
what is it?
It's the idea that Sabine Wren... And I know, like, some...
Evil?
Would bring up that, like, the Knights of Ren, they are, like, they're canonically brought up this way, and this is how they were formed.
Yeah.
I would say that due to certain music cues that happen, like with those samurai, nomadic red armor-wearing people that Balin and Shin come across, like, you hear the Knights of Ren theme kind of playing when they're shown. So, my theory... is maybe Dave Filoni might retcon the whatever comic book story, like, was like, hey, here's the Knights of Ren, and their background and origin. He might retcon that and, like, say, when Sabine turns to the dark side, she takes control of, like, that army tries to rebuild Mandalore via the Knights of Ren.
That would be so cool. I think Dave Filoni's looking at this like how he looked at Clone Wars. He's like, oh, you didn't like the prequels? We're going to fix that. You didn't like the sequels? We're going to fix that. And I think this Dave Filoni universe is fixing what the sequels messed up. But that's a cool theory. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It might be a stretch, but it's just the music cues that were there. The
it
playing.
Makes sense.
Her name is Ren.
It connects.
She's a Jedi. Which is
Do you have any theories on Balin? Because I don't know that as well.
Oh, the Mortis stuff?
I don't remember it. I know there's a father, son, and daughter, and the daughter's statue is destroyed, but I don't know.
So the recap with the Ahsoka season finale is with Balin's situation. He was not in the season finale episode at all until the very end.
Yeah.
And we see him standing on top of this giant statue of the father, which for any of you who didn't watch Clone Wars, it was a character from Clone Wars, actually thought of by George Lucas. The whole Mortis thing, you had the father, the son, and the daughter. The father being the one that kept balance between his children, the daughter, which represented the light side, and then the dark side was the son. And it was a very interesting arc in Clone Wars. I think it's one of the best ones. Definitely recommend watching it if you haven't. But yeah, the whole thing where the daughter's statue is like destroyed, and then the son's is still there, and Balin, who we see and probably can assume is a dark side user, not necessarily a Sith, but a dark side user.
Yeah.
He is like sensing something greater. And a lot of people are thinking that something greater is a entity known as Abloth, which was from the EU before Disney slapped the legend label on everything.
Yeah.
But like basically she's kind of like a whatever would be inside Pandora's box, like a causer of chaos, and cause like ripples within the force that goes across space and time.
You could do so much.
Yeah, you could.
You literally could do so much with him then.
Yeah, and maybe that could carry into the whole idea of like how the dyad of the force came into being.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe it has something to do with like there needs to be a maintenance of balance with the force, and therefore there needs to be a reincarnation within a dyad of the force, but I don't know. Maybe that's where it comes into play with the Rise of Skywalker or the sequel trilogy. I don't know, but like there's so many ambiguities there. There's so many different options you could do. Maybe it's the son that's standing at the edge of the cliff like saying, "Hey Balin, what's up, bro? Let's like hang out and exchange like force numbers or something."
Dave Filoni.
But like, there's so many things that could happen.
Yeah.
Now how do you think, now that we can get into spoilers?
Yeah.
And you've read Heir to the Empire, like
yes,
I have.
I've read the first one.
How do you think they handled Thrawn? And also, you watched Rebels.
Yeah.
So you can see, like, the canon and non-canon version.
Yeah.
How do you think they handled Thrawn in this show compared to those other versions?
I think it is different. I would love for them to lean more into the Heir to the Empire books and how Thrawn acts in that one. But, like you said, like, I think his main mission for the show was getting back. He's like, I am going to do something big, and this is my way of getting back. And I think his idea of, like, maybe leaving Ahsoka and Sabine, like, it's fine if one of them escapes, but I'm going. I think he's handled it very well. Lars Mikkelsen does a good job. And there's just so much more. Like, we don't know anything. We don't know if there's movie nets, whatever, Heir to the Empire net. Like, we don't know, so.
Yeah. I mean, they teased us with, like, the Ahsoka saying straight up, like, the heir to the Empire.
Yeah!
I'm like, yay, now make a movie.
Now go make a movie.
But, yeah, so I agree with you. I think his character was handled very well, and I hope that they lean more into, like, the book Thrawn that most of the people grew to know and love. But not to say Rebels was a bad Thrawn, but it's it's just like...
It's different.
That show was kind of more directed towards a less mature audience. That way it's just kind of like more so mustache twirling villain,
Yeah.
So it's not...
I think we're going to get that. I'm pointing to the book.
Yeah. Right.
I think we're going to get that first. version.
Yeah, which I hope. I mean, again, that could be a whole result of, like, why is the Rebels version different from this one, and why is he different from the books one? It's like, well, again, it comes down to character development. Maybe that character we saw at this point was different in a different state of mind to where he is now, or maybe why was he strictly more of a villain at that point? Maybe there was something like, at that point, why he was guiding himself on that path, emotionally, or like whatever, what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's so many different ways and routes we can go, like with Ahsoka. Where do we go from here? Overall, we loved the show.
We loved it.
Yeah, we loved it.
But that leads us into our next kind of thing that we wanted to talk about, because we are on opposite sides of this.
Yeah, like we were united on a united front, and then suddenly we went our separate ways when it came to this one topic, which I was shocked
I just think you're wrong.
Well, what does she think I'm wrong about? Annmarie, care to go into it?
Okay, so we had talked about, we're going to assume that a movie is next. And you said you would love to have the original characters, Luke, Han, Leia, because they're a part of the book really heavily, but have them recast younger and be a part of the movie. And I said, no. Like, straight up, I don't want that. I think that's horrible. Do you want me to go first?
I mean, up to you. You can go first, yeah.
think, okay, Ethan's gonna out-talk me, because Ethan's better at talking and explaining, but this is how I feel personally. I think you can do Heir to the Empire without them, or you can kind of change it up without them. Because listen, I'm so tired of the Skywalkers. I don't care anymore. Leave them be. Like, Mark Hamill hasn't died and Harrison Ford hasn't died, but let them live by themselves. Those Those characters are awesome. I love them. I love the originals. 4, 5, and 6, awesome. I even like 7, and, there's stories in that, but I'm so done with the Skywalkers. Like, I don't want to even, think about them. And just to have them recasted, I don't think it's, disrespectful to those original actors, but I just don't think you need them. You don't need to lean on these people. It's the same thing. I don't want to see Hayden Christensen anymore. This was perfect. His send-off. Bye, dude. Thanks for joining and all that. I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to see Obi-Wan anymore. I don't want to see any of these original characters. Let's focus on the ones that we have, make them better, and do a story that way. Case closed. No.
Now, let me verbally slap you here.
Yes, verbally slap me. No. Tell me why I'm wrong.
No, so I actually do agree with you on this to an extent. Mm-hmm. And before that extent, I would say that yes, they do have these new characters or newer characters Sabine, Hera, Ahsoka, and all that. Boba Fett now, with his position, you could be a Talon Card, and all these different options, all these different pieces in certain play here that you could do an Heir to the Empire movie without this original legacy characters Luke, Leia, and Han. I mean, it would be a big question mark to everyone in the galaxy as to why they aren't there doing what needs to be done here. If the Empire is re-emerging after they lost plenty of friends and family, fighting it to bringing it down. I mean, it'd be a big question mark as to why I'm not there. I especially if it's supposed to be a manifestation, a culmination of the Mandoverse, as they call it. I hate that term, but the Mandoverse, where Luke was a big role in Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian, where he was the savior at the end of season 2, and he was also the reason why Grogu, learned a little bit and also was given back to the Mandalorian at the end. And it's just why would you introduce him if you're not going to utilize him ever again? Yeah. Now, that's the extent. I think you could do it without him. would there be some questions, big questions? Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are also big questions with, like, okay, where was, like, with Rebels, why weren't these guys, like, during these battles? But it's like, there are answers to those.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there could be answers to why Luke, Leia, and Han, they probably were on some other big thing. But, again, still, I personally would think it would be too big of a question, too much of a, like, like, why wouldn't they be there to let it just slide by, right? Now, here's the thing where I really do disagree with you. I think that you would need to have them in there because of what I just said before. And then also, it just, the whole thing with Thrawn saying, like, oh, basically his mentality of any relation to Skywalker, like the apprentice of Skywalker. Yo, bro, I ain't dealing with that. Nah. Now he's going to a galaxy where there's 2 Skywalkers. Potentially 3, depending on when Ben was born.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you got a Skywalker situation in that galaxy going on.
So you would have them recast?
I would have them I would not be...
Don't CGI.
Yeah, no, please. I mean, listen, it was nice, because I wasn't able to pay too much attention to it when we watched it.
Awful.
Yeah, it was more about the emotions, and I cried like an absolute baby when I saw Luke on screen in this Return to Jedi garb, like I'm sure a lot of men and women did, and children maybe, like during
younglings.
The younglings. So they, I'm not completely against it, but like I'm against the idea of like using it for a movie where it's like, okay, great, we got another Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny thing where it just looks very uncanny, and if you do it the way where it's like the voice is like just I don't know, it just would be it would throw everything out of balance. It would just make the movie feel like it's a completely different thing, would change the emotional weight of it.
What way do you think Dave Filoni's gonna go?
If they do legacy characters?
No, if he does a movie, do you think he's gonna he's like, I want these characters in here, like, I want Luke, Leia, and Han? Or do you think he's like, I can do this without them?
That's a really tough question, because they have shown legacy characters throughout. One could say, like, oh, but Jon Favreau had more control of The Mandalorian, right? Like, and that's why Luke was in there. However, in Rebels, Leia was in there.
Yeah, Leia was in one episode, too.
And, Leia was also, even though she was younger, in Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Yeah. And Luke.
Yeah, and you have really good examples already of, like, recastings of these characters.
Yeah.
With Billy Lord could be, Leia.
Yeah.
Alden
Ehrenreich.
He could be a solid Solo.
Yeah, he was so.
Yeah, like, I mean, at post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. So.
And then you got whoever Graham something.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember, but he looked, honestly, without the CGI, he looked very similar to Luke.
I just worried that Disney's gonna ruin them.
That would be my concern as well, but it seems like they have more of a game plan here.
Yeah.
So that gives me a little hope.
Yeah.
New hope, if you will.
Oh my goodness.
For these Return of the Jedi while the Empire Strikes Back.
I just get nervous. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. I think he could do it without them. I get what you mean. It'd be like, where the hell are these guys? But I think you kind of have to, like MCU it a little bit and be like, listen, like, they weren't here, like, just...
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't MCU anything right now.
Well, no, old MCU. Old MCU. Older.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you technically, with the introduction of, like, newer galaxies and the unknown regions and all that, I think that you could do a lot more with those areas and, like, do less with the Skywalkers there. Like, I think these two things could coexist, right?
Yeah.
You can use, for these big events that take place when the Skywalkers are around, throw them in there. However, if there's other stuff that happened, like, centuries ago, like Old Republic, keep them out of it. If there's a Same thing with
They do newer.
Yeah, like newer.
Future.
Same thing. High Republic Acolyte we got coming out that I'm
allegedly.
Well, I mean, it was in production. I think it's. Excuse me while I'm just like burping.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I had like a wonderful deep dish pizza this afternoon, so I'm just living life.
After whatever Dave Filoni has going on, I don't know if there's gonna be a Ahsoka season 2 movie, whatever. After this, I want like just go in the past. Like get out of this state and go in the past and like do something different.
Not only in the past, but you can go in the future or present in a distant
I don't want to see Rey.
Or in a distant galaxy.
Rey Skywalker.
You gotta let them hop on a Purgle, go to a different galaxy.
Get out of here.
Go hop on a space whale and ride into happiness.
Oh my goodness.
Like sheer Star Wars bliss.
Yay.
So, yeah, I don't know. With the legacy characters, I agree with you, like I said, to a certain point of, yeah, you could do without him. Big question mark over the head, but it's like, yeah, you could. But also, I think you couldn't simultaneously. Yeah. And I just think if you do it, don't CGI him.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, I think. But I think Dave Filoni knows that.
Yeah, like...
We love you, Dave Filoni.
And if you do any, like, CGI thing with them, like, make it very minimal. Mm-hmm. Like, don't do the whole, we gotta do deep fake and all that. It's like, well, make it, like, makeup. Make it more, like, prosthetic-y, you know?
Yeah.
I think you could get away with that.
Yeah.
And it would make the performances more raw and kind of return Star Wars to, like, that, these are films.
Yeah.
Like, I view these movies as films. Yeah, like, it's about not only the visual effects that we see with the technology, but it's about the characters. Yeah. And I think George Lucas, that was something that, with all 6 of his movies, that really hit home, was, like, the emotions clearly, visibly displayed on all these characters. Even when they were in makeup, or, like, when they had, like, scars on their body, or like certain mannerisms or movements, or like sardonic looks at each other, like an iconic Han Solo glance. You know, it's just you doing it with CGI, deepfake, de-aging, whatever. It's not the same.
Yeah. No.
You know, but I just think that if you do that, like with minimal CGI work, and maybe just focus on the true raw emotion, and like maybe let the actors just try to you know transcend the character to this next state, I think you could. There might be like some people that are like, oh no, Mark Hamill was the only way and they should have stuck with the CGI. I'm sure there will be, but I think in the grand scheme of things, that would be the best bet to do. And who wouldn't pay money to see Luke Skywalker on the big screen again? Like young Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
So,
who knows? In Dave Filoni, we trust.
In Dave, we trust.
In Dave, we trust.
But, yeah, those are our thoughts on the Ahsoka series, Season 1 so far. We'll see if we get a Season 2, or if we just jump right into the Dave Filoni's movie here. But, we'll see where things go in a galaxy far, far away. And, I just hope it just goes to... great places, because I'm just riding this Purgle to this hyperspace whale to the same place you guys are. So, yeah, those are our thoughts. And Annmarie, anything else to add?
No, that's just, again, please just do it well. Please don't Boba Fett it.
Oh, man. We love Star Wars. We love
Star Wars.
But, all right, well, those were our thoughts on Ahsoka, and the idea of using legacy characters for any future Star Wars endeavors. Feel free to like this video, comment, subscribe, share your thoughts on it. Like, do you guys think that we should...
Is Ethan right, or is Annmarie right?
It's a very simple case of morality here. Very black and white.
Yes.
No gray area. If so, you're just a youngling in front of Darth Vader. So anyway, this has been Cassette Take with Annmarie and Ethan. we're hoping that you didn't eject during any point of this. But if you did, or if you're just ejecting now, because we're all wrapped up here, then please do not forget to rewind. This has been Ethan and Annmarie, and have a great night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.